Alan, what are we driving this week?
This week, something rather nice. The very latest LEXUS NX 450h Plus.
Alan, how would you describe the front?
Well, I would describe the front. They've done this spindle grille. They've given the top bit less weight with a very big bit at the bottom, and it looks a little bit like a Kardashian walking the other way from behind. These, do they look like they should be on a sports shoe?
Yes, certainly it's got the swoosh look to it.
The Nike Swish. This is the flagship model, and it has 227 kilowatts worth of power. But of course, with hybrids, which this is, it's not so easy to talk about the torque, because you don't just add them both together and come up with a total figure. But that's what LEXUS has told us is the total kilowatt output. Now, this has got a few tricks up its sleeve, which we'll explain when we get in the car. From the side, it does have quite a nice look. I think it takes all of the good bits from the previous NX and it's mixed them with some of the UX to create this familiar, but I think quite tasteful, smallish RAV4 sized SUV. All of the locks are electric. So you put your hand inside and there's a little button behind and you just pull it and open it. So as well as the actual lock being electric, so is the locking mechanism. And just here on all four doors, there's a little spare pull-out emergency unlocker.
So if your battery goes flat.
Yeah. However, for some reason we can't get that to work on any of the other doors. And on this side we have a petrol flap because of course this is a hybrid. On the other side,
It's not just a hybrid, it's a plug-in hybrid.
plug-in hybrid, so that you can plug it into a socket at home and store up to, it's around 87 kilometres worth of EV charge.
That's a bit more than normal. A lot have talked about 50 to 60.
It is a bit more than normal, but what it does give you with is pure EV motoring. So theoretically, if you could plug this in at home, do your 40, 50 kilometres a day travel, get home, plug it in, then you could theoretically not use the petrol engine.
We'll plug it in at work as well. This is rather a strong line over the wheels, isn't it?
It is a strong line, but it's made up of strong lines everywhere, and I think that's what LEXUS is noted for, is this strong character. And Mr. Toyota, head of Toyota, said that he didn't care if you liked or didn't like the car, so long as you had a feeling of some kind.
Okay. Well, I think I can
Because they
say.
were once just white goods, and earlier Lexuses
Yes.
had the same problem. The back, a little bit interesting. We've got the tail lights that stand out proud, another swish that would be at home on a sports shoe. And this is a light bar that when the tail lights are on goes all the way across the car. We've seen that in other Lexuses, we've seen it in Audi, Porsche, what other, I think even some of the Kias have it.
Oh, and the Polestar.
Polestar. So if you've got the key in your pocket, David, you can kick to open this back door, but the key is inside. So instead I'm going to use the electric lock.
Alan, you have a reaction to the quality of this
just
covering.
feels beautiful. It's so soft.
It is nice.
It just doesn't feel nasty. Underneath you've got various cords, and this is the cord that you'd have to plug into a 240 volt outlet anywhere at all. But of course, this comes with LEXUS OnCall. So with LEXUS OnCall Platinum, they'll come to your place and stick a charger in your garage. If you can have a charger in your garage. I can't, but you can. So they'd come to your place, stick a charger in your garage.
For a fee.
No, it's included.
Oh, really?
You also get 3 years of LEXUS OnCall, and the OnCall allows you to swap into another Lexus 4 times in the 3 years for up to, I think it's 10 days a time or 8 days a time, thereabouts.
That's
You
clever.
can swap into a Lexus LC500 or an LX if you want to go on a bit of a family trip. And it's brilliant, but it is only the 4 times, and it is subject to availability, and that's at a Lexus dealer or a Qantas valet. So arrange that. You presumably have to arrange it before you get there.
If I get a much better car, do I pay a bit?
No, it's all included.
Oh, okay.
But it's not something you can ask for. Lexus either gives it to you or they don't. Now, only this one has it, the other ones in the range don't.
Okay.
The UX300E, the one we reviewed recently, that has the same deal, and that also comes with free charging.
Well, okay.
It wasn't as nice to drive as this though. This I've fallen in love with.
Yeah.
You've got that front seat a long way back.
I say, Alan, that's rather comfortable.
It is comfortable, and I love this red and black theme in this particular car. Now, we don't, in this car, have the Mark Levinson upgrade, so we don't have any of the badging all over the speakers, but all of the surfaces. David, feel the surfaces. They're soft. They're soft as a Buble ballad. You've got a couple of vents there in the back, and then down the bottom, a couple of USB-Cs and a 12-volt outlet. You'll notice that's where I've got my Navman plugged in. All right, David, press the starter button. Now, I've been driving this car all week, and it is a peach. Most notably is this massive screen that you can see now doing up the little Lexus dance. It's also done a Lexus dance over here in the 10-inch display, and then there's another pseudo 10-inch display up here on top in front of David. But I think the biggest thing in this car is that there's no more center console trackpad, which used to really irritate me. Now, David,
Yes.
you'll also notice that in the center, the ring, the physical ring in the middle of that is gone. So that whole screen is now available for real estate. And look at this.
The clarity of that is unbelievable.
This is a camera. Now it's a mirror. Now it's a camera. Now it's a mirror. So what that means is that you get a clear view backwards without having to look through whatever you've got stashed in the back. On the center console, we still do have quite a lot of buttons. There's buttons here for selecting EV and hybrid. You can actually preserve the EV charge if you want. The lights and the wipers, they're fully automatic. But David, have a look at this. So these little toggle things are actually mini trackpads. So when you touch the little trackpads, it brings up whichever function you're trying to use. So it might be cruise control or whatever the audio functions are, but also the phone. So this top one's the phone. It does have CarPlay, but it is wired, which is a little bit unfortunate. We've got physical controls for the air conditioning, plus permanent controls here.
There's not as many as other cars, and not that I'm saying that's a bad thing. It seems to have most of the things that you want.
I think it's a good thing. Now, I've got this set to sync, but there's also a climate menu that you can go into, which gives you a couple of extra options, including climate concierge. And you know I love climate concierge, and that means all of these things are in auto. So I'm going to sync those again, and now the heated steering wheel, heated and cooled seats, and the climate control are all synced together. And by just changing this dial, it changes what it does. So if you turned it up to 27, it would turn on your seat heating, and if you turned it down to low, it would turn on your seat cooling, as well as changing the temperature. But you can also use the voice control to do things like open the moonroof, open the windows, and set temperature, amongst other things. In EV mode, this is lovely and silent. Of course, you don't have to release that because you've got your seatbelt on. It will release it for you.
But not if I don't.
No, but you can manually release it. It's lovely and quiet. You've got electric adjustment on the steering wheel. I've got that set so that when you get into the car, it all slides up and back and allows you to get in and out of the car without having to struggle too much. Now, we are in EV mode at the moment. You can fettle those buttons to go between EV and normal mode. And when you go into fully automatic, it will call up the full power, the full 227 kilowatts of power. As well, David, you've got drive modes. So you've got drive mode plus. Now, when we go out in a minute onto an open road, there's tons of oomph. And it really does feel every bit. David, 6.8 seconds to 100.
That's pretty good.
The fuel consumption on this is as low as 1.3 litres per 100 kilometres on official figures. However, As I said outside, if you were really canny, what you could do is treat this like a range extender, keep it charged at home, keep it in EV mode, and then you'd almost never use the petrol engine, which is okay by me. Actually, I'm just going to try something. As I suspected, these are dual pane windows.
Oh.
So 2 pieces of glass sandwiched together. It's just delightful. Now you've also got active lane control and so forth, and all of that stuff comes on when you turn on the cruise control.
Was it comfortable on a motorway?
Absolutely beautiful on a motorway, and in fact I took it up to our usual haunt, pie in the sky, on the highway. It was just beautiful. Now, we were talking before outside about the door locks. Inside is the same thing. I know we've jumped around a bit, but inside is the same thing, and that is a gentle push on the armrest button will open the door. Now, if we're locked, the button doesn't work.
Oh.
So as soon as you park the car, those locks are re-engaged. Now, interestingly, when it's a normal car and you unlock the doors, you can hear them all go clunk. Mm-hmm. With this, you don't hear anything. It just activates the locks.
When did you last charge it, Alan?
That's when I picked it up at...
Well, it's still got a fair amount of charge in it.
Yeah, because I've been preserving it. If you're in town, you'd leave it in EV mode, so you're
Yes.
not adding to all those nasty, noxious fumes. So on the highway, I put it into full hybrid mode, which meant that it charged the hybrid battery, it stored that energy, and behaved in a way that a normal hybrid does. When I got into town, I put it into EV mode using the EV button, and it then used the battery power that I had taken from the mains. And it's come time
It has.
to hit like,
Or leave a comment.
and over here to subscribe.